Hello, Professor. In this opportunity, our group are going to present the project to improve the production process of refining and mixed in Elena chocolates. Our team member consists in Carla de la Sota, Deborah Quijandría, Anayeli Rivas, Jessica Toro, and me, Melanie Pacheco. Next slide, please. Now we are going to talk about Elena's company, then the strategic analysis of the company, then the analysis of process and the current situation, and finally, some conclusions. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to talk now about Elena's chocolates. The principal activity of this company is the manufacture of cocoa and chocolate confectionery. Elena Chocolates was founded by Elena Soler in 1975, and that means that this company has had a strong presence in the Peruvian market. The principal products that this company sells are, for example, Chocotejas, chocolate bars, and tejas. The chocolate is the main ingredient. Then you can find Elena's products in many supermarket, department stores, and airports too. Also, it's important to mention that Elena's company comes with or gets its raw material from different departments in Peru. For example, in Tarapoto, this company gets the cocoa, and in Ica, for example, this company gets pecans because this company wants to offer to its customers natural and exotic ingredients. Next slide, please. In those pictures, you can appreciate many details about the packaging and how is the chocolate that Elena's company offered to its customers. For example, the chocolate bars, chocotejas, and tejas. Those are the main products. Next slide, please. And in those pictures, you can appreciate other presentations, for example, and also the high quality of its bar chocolates that are made with natural ingredients and 100% Peruvian organic cocoa. Next slide, please. Now, I am going to talk about the strategic analysis of the company. Next slide, please. First of all, I'm going to talk about the mission. Its mission is provide the best chocolate, tejas, and chocotejas with the best possible service at the most competitive prices. And then I'm going to talk about the vision. It is to be the largest exporter company of gourmet chocolates in Peru. Now I'm going to talk about its principal competitors, its national competitors. We can talk about the Iberica that you can find, for example, in Arequipa and another region from Peru. If we are going to talk about international competitors here in Peru, we can talk about Ferrero Rocher, Di Perugia, and Habana. Next slide, please. Now, I'm going to talk about the organization chart. First of all, we can find the founder and the director. Then we can consider the 6 principal departments that this company counts. For example, the sales area, finance area, human resources, marketing, customer service, production, and design. And also we can mention another sub areas that are important too, because all these areas consist the Elena's organization. Next slide, please. Now my classmates are going to explain the SWOT matrix.
The SWOT project is divided into 4 elements. In the first place, there are the strengths that are the high quality machines and equipment that the company has, the automate the process, and that the project is short term. On the other hand, it has weakness such as the lack of training and the deficit in the chocolate elaboration process. It also has opportunity that should be take advantage of, such as the growing trend in the chocolate market, and there are enough resources to carry out the project. Finally, it is necessary to avoid risks such as the possibility of inflation and the elimination of the project budget. Next slide, please. In this part, the internal and external stakeholders are detailed, starting the employees, customer, raw material suppliers, and others, distributors, project team, and production area, government, other company that sell chocolates, etc. These stakeholders must be satisfied, closely managed about the project. Next slide, please. Uh, Here you can see the project canvas, which is like an overview of the project. We has a purpose: improve quality control in review in refining and blending process. The scope is to increase the production of chocolate, focus on process improvement. The project will have success criteria. This will be the engineered tools that will be implemented for process improvement, and 50% of the process must be improvement with the proposing tools. The milestones will be to evaluate the improvement proposal, obtain the times of each process. On the other hand, the action that will be carried out will be to investigate the potential partner, coordinate with the worker, analyzes the current situation of the process, implement improvement, and finally, the result will be a reduction in time and cost in the chocolate making process. Finally, the project canvas also allows to visualize the teams, stakeholder, user, resources, constraint, and the risks that the project may present during the execution, such as employees will resist to change government laws for chocolate companies. Next slide, please.
Now I'm going to talk about in the analysis of process and the current situation of the company. First, we have the process map of Elena Chocolates, and in this process map, we have the strategic processes, key processes, and support processes. In key processes, we have all the production processes. We have the process raw material procurement, and grinding, conching, refining, and blending, and tempering, molding, and cooling, inventory management, and packaging and labeling. So according to a study of the company from March to August of 2021, in the production process, all the products of Elena, it was in the product bitter chocolate, and has the highest in total times in hours. So in this case, the process to improve is refining and blending. Next slide, please. Yeah. So in these processes, we study the product bitter chocolates. and we have the highest total time in hours in this process, and it means the total time is higher than standard time in the process refining. Refining and blending process with the product bitter chocolate. In addition, is in most of the batches with viscosity, we have the most observation in product bitter chocolate in the month in April, no, with 70%. Next slide, please. So about this problem we find in the study, we decide to realize that DAP diagram and Ishikawa diagram to analyze the principal problems and the main causes. First, we have the main problem, rework in refining and blending or mixing in process. And the most is the main problem we have a lack of training and staff with lack of community. This is because the staff of production don't feel motivated to make their work in production process, because for this reason they are not communicated, and they have they commit errors in the process. So for this reason there is a rework in the process, refining and mixing process. So we our proposal to the improvement is apply 5S methodology and implement capacitation for the workers. Next slide, please.
The project charter, next slide, please. And the project charter is the fundamental document in project management. This document is created at the beginning of the project and serves as formal state that authorizes the existence of the project and provides the sole foundation of this management. The project charter establishes the vision, objectives, scope, the rules, and the responsibility as the initial resources of the project. And below are some key elements include the project charter. For example, the version control, the version is 1, made by group 2, and the reason is the quality control. About the project name is improve the production process and refining the mixing the elements chocolate. The project description. The objective of this project is increase the productivity in the refinance and the mixing process of the elements chocolate. Currently, chocolate have many errors and do not come out with the appropriate characteristics that good chocolate should be have. I was that there is a correct quality control in the renify and blending process, no? About the project production definition, carry out the improvement plan to reduce product delays, and staff training plan. About the definition, project required to carry out training staff, training schedule, the budget, the worker. The project objective about concept scope, objectives, conduct training for the production staff, achieve increase the productivity of the training. The success criteria and continue monitoring to the process of activity by the team about the time and conclude the project in December 2023 and concluded the project in the 5 months, maybe. The cost, the budget, and do not if the success criteria don't exceed the project budget. About the project purpose, the purpose is to make an improved plan to reduce production delays and staff training plan. And the project certification increase chocolate compute in Peru, potential compute interest in Peruvian products, generates income to the company, and growth and consolidate ourselves as company to care about improve the quality in this product. And next slide, please. In this part, can see the organization and the growth involvement are report to the project team, the supervisor to the Professor Choi about the main risk of the project, high initial investment, the cost implement automatically technology can be high, include to the costs, equipment, software, and training. Technical limitation, automatic technology made to for the times the blending and the parallel process. And the main opportunity of the project, financial profitability before the bank. In these other parts my friends explain in detail later. Next slide, please. About the work breakdown structure. This is a project management tools used to break down a large complex project into smaller management tasks. The purpose of the WBS is to divide the project work into smaller, more manageable components, and making it easier to plan, track, and control the project. And this project has been divided into the following parts. For example, identification the object and the scope, planning, improvement, the process execution, monitoring, and the control, finally, project closure. In the activities, in the objectives, for example, is definition of the project objective, project scope, identification of the stakeholders, about the project planning, current situation analysis, establishing goals, budget and resources, project schedule, about the improvement for the process, evaluation the current and refined process, identification of weak points, design the new refined process, implementation the improvement, evaluation the current mixed process, design the new mixed process and in implementation of the improvement. About the project execution, hiring key personnel, acquisition, equipment and materials, processor update, staff training, implementation or about monitoring and control, quality control, risk management, communication with the stakeholder, distribution, and the project resolution. And finally, the press close, final policy evaluation, document and results, and the lesson learned, delivery of final reports, and project approval. No? Next slide, please.
So now we are going to talk about the project scope. So what we have done is the project scope statement for this project. Well, this is a critical document that outlines the project objectives, the boundaries, the deliverables, and the constraints. And while the primary purpose of this project scope statement is to define and communicate the scope of the project itself. As we can see, the project name is improve the production process of refined and mix in the company Elena chocolates. While the project manager is the team number 2, which is us. The project objectives, we have number 1, the scope, and 2, the quality. Well, in scope, we have the trained production personnel and achieve increased productivity in production processes, such as refining and mixing. And well, another project objective is to improve the quality control in production processes. Also, we have the scope. Here we have these 2 questions. It's how should the product be and how we're going to build the product. So the first question, we are going to apply the methodology 5S, and we are going to apply it to the production processes. Also, this product will, through this methodology, it will increase the productivity. It will have a reduction of the rework. And also this will increase the staff commitment and while the visual presentation of results it's going to be obtained. Also, how are we going to build the product? Well, we are going to build the product through the development of the work in the production process itself. Also, through the employee commitment, also hiring expert personnel, developing a training plan, and also using better the time and the resources in the production process. So here we have the phases of the project. We have an initial phase, a planning phase, and improving the production processes, an execution phase, monitoring and control phase, and finally a closing phase. This is correlated to the work breakdown scope that my partner Jessica have talked about. These are also the same points, so we're gonna skip this. We have the project assumptions. Also, we have the project restrictions, which is what will not accomplish or include the project itself, like plant redesign and the acquisition of machinery. In the project assumptions, we have that the employees will be committed to the process improvement, and this not necessarily consists on the purchase of machinery in this project. Also, the reworking in these production processes that we have talked about will be reduced. And in project constraints, we have budget constraints, quality or performance constraints, the equipment or personal constraints, and the regulatory constraints. In the budget, we have that the cost should not exceed the planned budget. In the quality constraints, we have that the quality of the products must be guaranteed at all times. And in the equipment, constraints, we have that the training must be for all the production staff. This is necessary. And the regulatory constraints is that health standards imposed by DGESA must be met. And now this is the initial project schedule. This is a preliminary plan that describes the sequence in the schedule of the task and activities necessary to complete the project. So the primary purpose of the initial project schedule is to provide us a general sense of the project scope, timeline, and resource requirements. It helps the stakeholders, including project sponsors, ourselves, team members, and other relevant parties to understand the overall project framework. And it is important to note that this initial schedule is subject to change as more detailed planning takes place and as the project progresses.
Okay, now I'm going to explain the initial project budget. This project budget was created considering, first of all, the work breakdown structure and the initial project schedule. So for that reason, in the first stage, that means initiation phase, we consider to invest 6,500 because in this stage we are considering the identification of objectives and scope, the definition of the project objectives, the project scope, and the identification of the stakeholders. And the second stage, that means planning phase, we consider to invest 11,100 because in this phase we are considering the project plan management and analysis of the current situation, establishment of goals and metrics, the analysis of the budget and resources to be used, and the project schedule. In the third stage, that means execution phase, we are considering to invest 13,100 soles because in this stage we are considered invest in the project execution and hiring qualified personnel, the acquisition of the equipment and the materials, the procedures update, and the staff training and implementation of changes. Then in the fourth stage, that means monitoring and controlling phase, we are considered to invest 14,200 because here we are considering the monitoring and control of changes, adaptation and operations, quality control and risk management, the communication with stakeholders and distributors, and problem solving. That means that the company has to invest 14,200 soles. In the final state, that means closing phase, the company is considering to invest 15,500 soles because here in the last state has to invest in the project closure and final evaluation, the documentation of results and lessons, final report deliveries, and the project approval. That means that in general, this company, Elena's Chocolate, has to invest 60,400, and also we consider the contingency reserve like 8%. That it means to consider to have 4,082 soles, and like management reserve for us, we consider 10%. That means in soles 6,040 soles, and in general or final project budget means that Elena's company has to invest 71,000 272 soles. Next slide, please.
In conclusion, Helena's chocolate has problem in the refining and mixes area to do the inefficiency, employees training, which generate resources and downtime. In addition, it is essential to carry out the project canvas size it shows in a summaries for the general vision of the project, which can be of great interest to stakeholders. The SWOT allows us to know which are the strengths and opportunities that have to be taken advantage of the minimize the weakness and treat that the environments on the project. Thank for your attention.